Normally I would give more time. I would love to give more time, but I just got so many more meetings I got to address today and other aspects of my work. But again, what I want to do with this interview is, the thing is, in my eyes, and a lot of people who know me, they realize I'm a very open and honest guy. I don't bullshit, and I own up to anything and everything I do. And the thing is, and I did not watch your video, and I did so because I don't want to get emotionally charged from your video. As you told me, you got really angry and you really gave it your all. And because of the work environment I'm in right now, I need to stay very level-headed and very calm so I can handle all the things around me. But I do understand some of the issues because I do understand some of the things that you did hit on based on the simple comments I read throughout the video, in the video section. And so basically, I just want to let you guys ask me some questions and that's making me laugh. But guys, I want to let you ask me questions, and I want to be open and honest with you. And just let me answer my questions. When you ask me something, I'm going to answer it. If it seems like I'm going on a tangent, there's a reason I'm going on a tangent. So just let me finish what I'm saying, and when I pause and stop, that's when I let you guys chime in. And I'll give the same respect back to you. I won't interrupt you. I won't stop you. I won't do anything of that nature as well. How does that sound?
Okay. Should I ask a question right now?
Hey, go for it. Go for it.
All right. Well, just before, I already reiterated, I'm just going to reiterate this part. I admitted that I made the mistake within the video saying you generalized all networks when it was in fact Machinima and Maker. But at the same time, you also stated that you were generalizing, but you also were not generalizing. It was like a...
Yes, basically what I was saying is that what I was getting at was that Maker and Machinima being the first two prominent networks popping into the scene, they set up the standard business model, or what people consider the standard business model. And because of that, it's led a lot of networks into thinking that's the only business model you can use to become a YouTube network. And so I feel like there's networks out there that can bring something to the table, but they're bringing it to a table built on bullshit. And what I'm trying to do is bring a new business model of YouTube networks. That way, these YouTube networks that do have something to bring to the table can iron out those kinks and be more efficient and effective for their partners.
Okay. What exactly do you plan on doing for the people that you gave your email to within, on Twitter or whatever, the whole business email?
Well, my emails is there because what I try to do is I try to be transparent. I try to have ears and listen to everybody. And so, for example, someone said, hey, I want to share something with you, but I want to do it privately. I gave them my email so they can do that. My email is out there for people to come to me and communicate with me in a more direct way. That way, if they feel like they can't reach me via Facebook, Twitter, or if they feel like it's something that that they're more comfortable emailing me about, I just want to have that out there.
Okay. We already talked about this privately, but might as well just bring this out as well, considering it's part of the video I made. Why did you load up your tags and spam tag on the old videos during the Japan tragedy?
Well, let me kind of give you a little bit more backstory on that as to why I got to the spam tagging. It was about 2 months after I'd been into YouTube. I had gotten partnership, and another YouTuber at the time said, hey, you should try this out. This is what happens, it works. And so what I did was, now I understand that some people don't like it, but I did have a set of moral and values to it. For example, when I spam tagged, I did it to videos that people really didn't own. Failblog didn't really own that content. It was someone else's content. So in my morals and values, I felt like, okay, well, they're using someone else's content. Why not use them to have my content spread around? And I did that with that notion. And the reason that I ended up doing the Japanese thing was that Liet, another guy who I no longer have any connection with because I find him to be very disrespectful. That's the best way I could really word it without getting too vulgar. He's very disrespectful, and because of that, I have no contact with him. I don't like the way he treats other people. Regardless if he treated me right, he treated too many other people wrong, and because of that, I wanted to cut ties. But he's like, hey, you should try this. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. And I did it, and when I did, I stopped after a couple hours. I saw, people were really pissed off about it. And then I sat down and I was like, yeah, this isn't right. This doesn't make any sense. So I removed the tags, and, I own up to it. I did it, but I realized I was wrong. And so that's why I removed the tags immediately.
Okay. I stated in, I'm just reading over my notes. I stated also this within the conversation we had. You also did the misleading tags, the misleading thumbnails and titles, right?
Well, I wouldn't say the thumbnails were misleading. I mean, I understand what I did with the thumbnails, but it did fall into the general guideline of like what Philip DeFranco did. There were a standard that was set by a bigger YouTuber, and YouTube allowed it to be done. And because of that, some people will call it, but at the end of the day, as long as the thumbnail represented the topic that I was talking about, in YouTube's eyes, it wasn't misleading. So that, I can understand the debate, and I can see why some people say yes and some people say no. Do I do that anymore? No, I don't do that anymore. But being a younger YouTuber at the time and just trying to get my footing in, I was just trying to do what I felt like was, acceptable and right already. And looking back now, do I regret it? No, because it got me to where I needed to be to step away from there and go, okay, now I put myself in a position to where I can restructure things and make it easier for content creators who do create good content to be seen and be heard and to be discovered.
Okay. You said you felt like the thumbnails and the titles were misleading, but you did state that you did lose your privileges of putting in custom thumbnails at the time due to this type of issue.
Yes. Well, what was happening was there was someone new that was hired at YouTube. When YouTube was trying to enforce these stricter guidelines, they hired more people. And put it quite frankly, some of these people got really trigger happy. And the reason I did lose my privilege was because of the miscommunication between the emails. At the time, this was at the same time that YouTube wanted you to use your Gmail to log in. And I had a Hotmail set up to my YouTube account. So I was getting two different sets of emails. Two different sets of emails to do two different email accounts, my Hotmail and my Gmail. And the guy that was going trigger happy on me, all the emails were being sent to my Gmail. And on top of that, when I logged into YouTube, I never received any sort of pop-up warning. If you get a DMCA or if your video gets flagged, you'll get a warning when you logged in. But none of this ever popped up when I logged in. And on top of that, the thumbnails that I was getting in trouble for did fit the guidelines. So those are the different reasons as to why I did get my custom thumbnails back.
Okay. Do you feel like in certain cases you kind of cheated the system of YouTube to get to the top of YouTube?
Yes and no. It depends on how someone defines cheating. And I say yes and no because I'm not trying to say that I did or didn't. It depends on people's different standards. If someone has these set standards for cheating and that's their standards, then yes, I did cheat. And for other people, they would go, you didn't cheat YouTube, you just worked the system, you gamed the system. So at the end of the day, I don't really think of it as one way or the other. You can title it one thing, but it doesn't really define the actions that I did. Everyone has a different definition for cheating. Everyone has a different definition for gaming the system. Did I do anything against the guidelines? Nate asked me. Yes and no. At the time, it wasn't against the guidelines, and then they changed the guidelines, and so it did become against the guidelines, which is why I stopped doing it.
Okay. I also stated in my video that you didn't watch, of course, but what was it? I stated that there is a rumored dark criminal record of Keep the Heat, your partner, and that's something a bit personal. I don't expect you to admit to it or anything. That's something of his personal stuff. But What else? I only stated it just to kind of say that it seems about right down his alley based on how much he cheats the system of YouTube and doesn't care that he's misleading on YouTube, because he'll put like something like Lil Wayne and Sex Money and Drugs official music video, and then he'll put right at the end of it parody or something, and then it'll have Lil Wayne in the thumbnail and all that kind of stuff. Just want to bring that up, and that I did state that within the video. What else?
Well, you're definitely correct. I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, we know what we did. People know what we did, and we can't deny it. We don't deny it, nor do we go around bragging about it. But the thing is that him and I both learned that yes, while it did help, it's only short-term success. That's why him and I teamed up together to come out with more original content that would be appealing to people and could be that could last without without having to game or cheat the system. You know, that's why we developed Yo Mama. We developed Anime. And in the process of developing Yo Mama and Anime and all these other new projects, we've managed to help other YouTube channels grow. So like our animators, for example, Red Minus, he had less than 2,000 subscribers before Yo Mama. And after working with us, and because of the exposure we helped give him, and we gave him knowledge on how to create a strong YouTube channel, how to turn views into subscribers, he's now flying past 100,000 subscribers. Last time I checked, he was at 105, but I think he's going beyond that right now.
And as ChickenDoodleSauce stated, he believes that Keep the Heat possibly botted views with Yo Mama.
No, we did not. No, we did not. The thing is, I know to a lot of people think Alex was like the guy behind Yo Mama, and the thing is, Alex and I were both behind Yo Mama. And the reason we got millions of views is because we hit the front page of YouTube under top favorites and for film and animation. And that's before YouTube did that homepage change. When White Boy, 7th Street, and all the other gamers were really using the front page to gain a lot of views. So our millions and millions of views came from the old YouTube homepage.
Okay. Queenie
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. By the way, YouTube and Google has implemented actions to remove botted views, which is why Sony and Universal Music Group lost 2 billion views. And so if we did bot the views, YouTube would have caught on to that already and would have deducted those views from us.
Very true. Queenie Batwoman has a question to ask you. It's relevant to the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hi Zach. When I saw your video about the networks and so on, I saw like the reaction of people that, well, they just had a new hope for the whole industry of YouTube and how it works. I even saw people reacting to it in the way that saying, well, I left my network because what Zach says is true, and I don't like the way my network works and so on. But what I could say from your video, it's, well, what it seems to publicity for you and business that maybe you're starting to create. Is there's anything you can tell us about this?
There are some things I can tell you. You know what? I'll go ahead and reveal a couple of cool things. And I can't go into too much detail because at this point, it's no longer me. I've developed a lot of different partnerships and business relationships all across the board, both and outside of the industry. But not to go into too much detail with that, one of the directions that we're going to go in is based on our experience with Prank Tour. With Prank Tour, this house that I'm now living in, I live and work here. This house that Prank Tour took place at, we brought in a dozen YouTube channels, and those multiple personalities really like came well together, with the exception of 1 or 2 people, really had great chemistry. And we all just had this sense of energy and creative freedom. And in the course of 4 days, we filmed so much content that if you were to turn them into YouTube videos, we made 80 YouTube videos in 4 days. And by the way, to kind of hit on what Nate's asking, and Nisa, how did I feel about Nisa being there? I was excited to work with him. I understand why people don't like him, and I had my own problems with him, but at the end of the day, he is a creative, hardworking guy, and he's very talented and skillful. But his chemistry just didn't fit with the team, and that's just how that is right now. But with this experience with Prank Tour and what happens when you bring YouTubers and have them live and work together, it's opened my eyes to a new idea. And without going into too much detail, I will. Sorry, one of my business partner's sons walked in. Hey. Without going into too much detail, I am developing a global network all around the world in multiple countries where we are going to set up houses for YouTubers to live and work in for periods of times. We'll have X amount of YouTubers come in there and live there for X amount of time and then rotate YouTubers out. And they'll come there to create content for their YouTube channels, collaborate, network with each other, and to create premium content. Our goal with this is to give content creators the power to create premium content. The problem is that Google, even though they own YouTube, they don't understand YouTube. And they want to challenge TV. They want to kill TV programming with their own programming. And because of they have a good sense of goals by doing that, but they overlook the content creators and instead invest into companies that have no idea what they're doing. So what we want to do is give the content creators that ability, that capability, that opportunity to come together and create premium content that can outdo these Google premium channels and can challenge the TV programming. So that's one aspect I can tell you about. Another aspect about this is that it's not just a YouTube network. It's a network of networks. And YouTube is just a piece of this. Yes, there is more to this than YouTube. I'm bringing social media, everything, all of it, all together. And I am going to create proper social interaction and proper social integration. I'm going to help YouTubers create themselves and expand themselves outside of YouTube. To answer you.
Okay. I think another question that Quinny was trying to ask was the video that you made against the networks kind of like a publicity stunt, so to speak?
Yes and no. The thing is, did I make the video knowing that people will react to it and come to me? Yes, but I did it because it was the right move to do. And at the same time, it was honest. It was something that I don't tolerate bullshit. And because not only do I not tolerate bullshit, but I speak very loudly about it. I always have. And I felt like it was a good way for me to close that chapter of my life where I played this exaggerated character. And at the same time, I feel like it would be good for the industry to see this, get motivated by this, and then realize that there are other options and that I am going to help provide one of those options. Now, are people coming to me with ideas and things of that nature in hopes of working with me? Yes, but it's not because I'm trying to pull off a publicity stunt. I'm trying to give people opportunities. I'm trying to give my fellow content creators a new opportunity. Today, I've talked to several content creators who have great and brilliant ideas, but there is not a network out there that can help them make those ideas come to life. And they feel like working with me, it will help them come to life. I do give them a good rundown. I explain the entire business model. I give them the full, what is it? The 104, what do you call it? 104? I don't know. What is this like? I give them the full rundown. I tell them everything that's going to happen, and they love it. They get it, they understand it, and they think it is the next move for social media.
Okay. The Frost review asked, with these networks, should they accept those who use misleading titles/thumbnails? Do they deserve the network partnership if they quote-unquote cheated the system, even if they meet the qualifications for partnership?
Networks, it kind of comes down to, again, it comes down to what you consider misleading titles and thumbnails. But based on what you guys define it as, in my eyes, in the network that I'm looking to create, I wouldn't. I'm looking for content creators that have strong content that stand on their own, content that can get spread around, content that people watch. And a thing to keep in mind is that misleading titles and thumbnails no longer work due to the new algorithms that Google put into place on YouTube. There are two new algorithms. algorithms, amongst many, but there are two very important ones. Number one, if your video is under a minute long, it will not rank high in search results. And number two, if your retention rating is low, meaning how long someone watches your video is low. So let's say someone clicks on a misleading title, thumbnail, video, and they don't like it and they click away. The more that happens, the lower your video pops down in search results. So in my eyes, it wouldn't make any sense because not only is it not good quality content, the content is not being ranked high in YouTube search results. So no, I wouldn't. And no, I don't believe other networks should as well, if they want to have a good network.
Okay. Queenie has another question about the network, your new network that you plan on creating.
My question is pertaining to, well, you already talk about this business you want to start. My question would be, what would be the standard you hold to get people inside your network? What are the qualifications they need to meet in order to get inside this business you're starting?
Well, to put it first simply, sub count is not a big thing to us. Let me give you a case here. Let me give you something that we've been talking about. Let's say you got YouTuber A and YouTuber B. YouTuber A has 1 million subscribers, uploads content consistently, but will not network or partner up with anyone and doesn't want to do any sort of collaborations because they think they're the shit. They have this very deep personality. Now let's say YouTuber B only has 50,000 subscribers and they have great content. They upload consistently and are looking to improve their content. They want to network with other YouTubers. I would pick YouTuber B as opposed to YouTuber A because yes, it would help. It would be nice to find someone like YouTuber B with 1 million subscribers, but it's those other qualities that makes that YouTuber more valuable. Because when you throw away YouTuber A and you take YouTuber B and you find more YouTubers like them, the sub count does not matter because the thing is, through previous experiments and past growth, we know how to grow a YouTube channel. With this network, we could take a YouTube channel with 10,000 subscribers and give it 100,000 subscribers by the end of the month. Due to the simple YouTube tools that we can use to network channels across the hemisphere, and due to the collaboration effort and work that we want to see happen. Yes, we can make a channel grow 10 times its size in a month on that size of a scale. I'm not saying I can take 1 million subscriber and turn it to 10 millions, but I can turn it from 10,000 to 100,000. And we've done this before. We gave Yo Mama 45,000 subscribers just through the simple system of liking the video and adding the Yo Mama video to a playlist via anime. Did that for 30 days straight. And now Yo Mama, even without uploading any new content for 4 to 5 months, is gaining subscribers. And now that we're uploading new content twice a week, we're now looking at 1,000 subscribers on average. So through this new YouTube system, through this new network, and utilizing the proper YouTube tools and collaboration efforts, the criteria is simply this. You gotta have good, great, promising content. And you gotta be willing to work with other YouTubers. And you gotta have chemistry. You gotta fit in well. We're not looking for divas. We're not looking for people who think they're better than everyone else. We're not looking for, stubborn people. We're looking for open people, people who want to be part of our community, and people who have good content.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mitch asked, do you plan on creating new networks for this network of networks? Partner with other networks, not machinima, of course, or both?
I already have. There are networks in place that people are not even aware of right now. And I built those networks up. And they're not affiliated with machinima, makers, or anybody else. They're just sitting there doing their thing, and no one's really noticed them being as a network. I've been working on this for quite a few months now, and I've only now revealed this.
Okay. The Metallica Guru asked, would this make big changes to other YouTubers as opposed to the networks that help big time YTBs?
YouTubers.
Okay, that's a weird acronym, but yeah.
Let me read this a couple of times. Will this make big changes to other YouTubers as opposed to networks that help big time YouTubers? Yes, it will, because then what will happen is it will motivate YouTubers to not join a network just to get, some thumbnail benefits or to what would essentially happen is when I create a network like this, other networks are going to be able to see this business model and develop their own network out of it, which is perfectly fine. But what will happen is that networks like Maker and Machinima, they've been trying to promise this stuff from day one. And then when you sign a contract with them and they get your AdSense, it seems like you can never get a hold of them. You can no longer contact them. And so what will happen is this will make smaller YouTubers, I say smaller YouTubers because that's the term that's thrown around, but this will make any YouTuber realize that you don't need to rely on a network like Maker or Machinima to grow your channel. You will, sorry, this other question caught my attention. You will realize that all you need is each other. If you take the extra time and effort to work with each other, to come out and message each other and collaborate with each other like people were doing before the networks popped up, then you'll definitely grow as a YouTuber. You don't need a network to network in that sense. I hope that answered your question. And awesome, it did. And then kind of, I see the Frost review had asked me this. How would your YouTubers be paid? Views, ads, or both? It doesn't come down to the ads or views. At the end of the day, I'm creating a network that does not need to claim your AdSense. In my eyes, you will make more money under the Google AdSense because Google AdSense, well, Google owns the AdSense. And as soon as a network claims the AdSense, you got yourself another layer of cuts. Google takes a cut, now the network takes a cut, and what do you got? Nothing. Oh, well, I mean, not nothing, but you got way less. And plus, Google, due to their hundreds of $1 million in investment, I believe it's $500 million now because they did a second round of investment. I'm going to say $500 million. Due to their $500 million investment, Google wants to make that money back. So they pulled back the high-paying CPMs from these networks, which is why Machinima went from saying, hey, we can promise you 250 flat rate CPM to saying, hey, we can only do 80 cents. And that's not a lie. This is a real life example I have witnessed. And when the YouTubers say no, Machinima terminates the contract. Machinima and Makers are not in a position to make money off of AdSense. Not the way they used to. They failed because they're a business relying on another business. With this network, we're going to create, and I can't go into the specific details, but we're going to create multiple verticals of revenue that's outside of YouTube and that can be involved with your YouTube videos. And at the end of the day, you'll keep your AdSense. You'll keep 100% of your AdSense. And by staying on Google AdSense, you'll make way more money than if you were under a network who claim your AdSense. And what we'll do is the network will pay for itself because we'll take a cut of these multiple vertical of revenues. Obviously, that's where we make our money. But at the end of the day, we're not going to make money unless we make the YouTuber more money.
Okay. As Nate said, you briefly mentioned Fullscreen in your video. What are your overall thoughts on their network and how they do business?
My overall thoughts comes down to George Strumpless. George Strumpless is the CEO of the network. Now let's take a moment and let's talk about the CEO of Machinima, or the CEO of Makers, or the CEO of Big Frame. My point made. No one really knows who they are. I kind of do. I did my research. But at the end of the day, these CEOs of these networks are not very transparent. They're not out there. They really haven't done much for the community to begin with. George is the reason that there is a partnership program. He developed that. He came up with that idea. And George has a brilliant mind. And in his mind, he finds ways to make more money for his partners. So what I think about Fullscreen comes down to a couple of different things. Them claiming AdSense, not the best thing. Them having 12,000, no, never mind, not 12,000 partners, that's Makers. Them having, I don't know how many thousands of partners that they have, but they have too many partners. But the guerrilla campaign that they have and the staff that they have, very wonderful people. And the guerrilla campaign is very brilliant. And George is the first network to say, hey, I'm going to show you what you're making per day. So you develop that technology, that dashboard technology that shows you what you're making per day. Again, I think George and Fullscreen is a great example of a network that has a lot to offer, but they bring it to a table built on bullshit, and they're falling into that bullshit, somewhat bullshit business model. Now, I know George. Okay, I won't go into too much detail, but my goal at the end of the day is to help Fullscreen. I will help Fullscreen, and I will help its network become stronger and more manageable for their partners. George and his network knows what they need to work on, and I'm the type of guy that can come in and help them work on it.
Okay, you said something about these networks claiming your AdSense, and from what I've experienced with my channel, it seemed like they just disconnected my AdSense instead of claiming it as theirs.
Well, what they do is that they basically, here's how it works. Let's say you got YouTuber A, B, and C, right? They each have their own AdSense B under the partnership program. Now, let's say the network goes and grabs up YouTuber A, B, and C. What happens now is that instead of the YouTuber getting their AdSense check, it gets bundled up into one big AdSense check that the network gets. That's what happens.
Oh, okay, because I do have a separate channel that is actually the main channel that has the AdSense account that I connected to my present channel that I have on I Must Destroy All. And then when I partnered with Fullscreen, they just disconnected my AdSense. And then
that's kind of like, and claiming your AdSense is the term that's used. It's not, claiming your AdSense doesn't mean they literally take over your AdSense account. They take over your CMS. And that's kind of going into other terms that can be a little confusing. But claiming AdSense is the term that's generally used to say that instead of you getting the AdSense check, the network gets the AdSense check. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. One of my questions is, you were formerly a partner with Machinima, so I'm just wondering, why did you partner with Machinima back then?
Well, I was one of the first partners with Machinima. And now I want to clarify that, no, I did not get screwed over by Machinima. I was not one of the people. And I think a lot of people are thinking that I'm mad and that I'm doing this because Machinima personally screwed me over. That's not the case. 2 years ago when I was approached, I was offered a really good contract. I had a nice flat rate CPM and it made sense and it worked. And my contract was going to be up this month. And and when they came and told people like, hey, we need to cut you a lower CPM, they didn't do that to me. They kept my flat rate CPM. It really came down to, I had a great experience with Machinima, but when I say I had a great experience with Machinima, I had a great experience with the employees there. The people I worked with, I liked them. But the people above them, the people who are running Machinima, the top dogs, I do not like them. They don't know what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing. They wish they did, but they don't. Fun fact, Alan, the CEO of Machinima, he's already ran a business into the ground before. His business before Machinima, by the way, he did not make Machinima. He bought Machinima. To clarify, he bought Machinima and turned it into what it is today. Alan is not a good businessman based on his business history. And the thing is that based on my experience, okay, I'm kind of deviating, but I signed with Machinima because it made sense at that time. It worked, and it worked all the way up until the day I got terminated. I enjoyed my experience, but I did not enjoy what they were doing to the industry. I did not enjoy what they were doing to the community. I did not enjoy what they were doing to my friends. And that's what it came down to. People think I'm doing this because of selfish reasons, that maybe I didn't get paid like I thought I was going to get paid. No, I got paid what I thought I was going to get paid. I just didn't like what they were doing to everybody else.
Okay. You stated in your video that you didn't want to make money off your videos and made sure people could not access them. But the problem is you made them unlisted. And from what I've seen on a few links that people gave me, they are still accessible.
Well, there's a couple of different things behind that. The reason I wanted to do that is because I want people to feel like they could spread that video without people going onto that video and finding my other videos that are related and then clicking on it and seeing videos with ads on it and then me making money from that. To me, that didn't feel right. Now, I unlisted the videos instead of making them private or deleting them because there's a big reason for that. If you private your videos or delete them, you lose your view counts. I wanted to keep that view count to show that I'm a YouTuber. I've been around. I'm resourceful. I got 66 million views by filming in a bathroom. That's all I mean, that was my brand. And yes, you know, I did the whole tag thing, the spam tag thing, but at the end of the day, you know, enough people saw my videos to subscribe to me. I had a good following. So I wanted to keep that number to show that I am a YouTuber, that I've been around, and I am a well-seasoned YouTuber. And the thing is, you can go back to those videos and there are no ads on them because Machinima terminated my partnership, which I knew they would do as soon as I uploaded that video.
Okay, because what I've noticed when you left your videos unlisted, they still had the ads on them at the time when I was checking them out, and you'll see in the video that I made as well, like,
What we can do right now for you guys, and I'll provide some evidence for you. As of 11:20 yesterday morning, I was terminated from Machinima. And here's the thing, the reason that the ads were stayed on there, I tried to take the ads off, but they have the way the ads were put onto the videos, it was through a claiming system. And once you claim your video, it's nearly impossible to unclaim your video.
Right.
So I tried to get the ads off, but I just couldn't. So I did what I thought was best. I just unlisted them. But now via the screenshot that I'm sharing with you, you can see that all my ads are turned off now. I could go back and turn them on, you know, via Google Partnership Program. Oh, well, no, I did that. I did not do that. But at the end of the day, it worked out.
Right. Because I mean, you said that you didn't want to keep them private because you still wanted to make the views on those videos, right?
Well, no. What happens is if you delete or private a video, Google will subtract your total view count.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
That's pretty stupid of them. I mean, I think that's a very ridiculous motive for them because either way, you still made the amount of views on your channel. I mean, either they were deleted or not. I mean, I just feel like that's a really stupid idea on their part because then it also makes it seem like you botted views as well.
Yes, exactly. So it is kind of a stupid thing, but then there's some reasons that he did that kind of makes sense. But with that said, I will give you guys 3 more minutes. I'm going a little bit over my time limit, but I'm seeing that you guys are taking this pretty good, and you guys are being quite civil. So with that said, I really appreciate the way you guys are handling this interview. And if you guys feel like there's anything else you want to clear up or that you want me to be upfront about or that you feel like I might be bullshitting about, ask me those questions right now so I can clear that up.
Okay, somebody I know, Pictoron, he stated in a comment on my video saying, somebody remembered seeing a video of yours with over 6 million views, yet around 6,000 in ratings. So he's basically saying that you might have botted that video or any videos.
Now, like I said earlier, if I did bot videos, like via your mama or anything, YouTube would have subtracted those views within the last few weeks. I know what video you're talking about, and that video got big because of just the topic and thumbnail. And the reason that it only has 6,000 ratings is because people click on it and they see, oh wait, this isn't the video I thought I was going to see, and clicked away before rating.
Okay. There's also, I'm sure you're very fond of newmediarockstars.com, the article about you. And I was just wondering if you know about Philip DeFranco's post about the article itself.
Yes, I did see the post, and Phil is right. You know, it comes down to, you got to read your contracts. That's what it comes down to. And again, to reiterate, it wasn't anything that was done to me that made me mad. It was what was being done to the community. And what I would say is I want to create a situation where that does not happen. I feel like us as the content creators, the people who built this industry, we are resourceful and intelligent enough to step up and be business savvy. We can replace those roles. We don't need these businessmen coming in here trying to take advantage of us. If we as content creators really do put our head in the game and put our foot down and really step up to this kind of role, then we can eliminate those sharks, those people trying to take advantage of us. And then we will find ourselves in a community, in an industry where those contracts will become rare. Those contracts that screw you over.
Nate has a question about Ray William Johnson.
Yeah, I've heard from the past from X Random Shadowman X, Chris, you might know him, I think, that in the past you've had some personal beef with Ray, like you got thrown out of like a party or something one time.
No, I did not get thrown out of a party. That was Alex.
Oh, all right.
But Ray, I mean, the thing is, I'll be upfront. I did spam tag the Ray. And I did it because I felt like we had a similar audience. And when I did spam tag the Ray, I would gain 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 subscribers a day. And the reason I kept spam tagging the Ray, because Ray is known to block people if he doesn't like them. And he never blocked me, but he always changed his tags. So I thought maybe he thought it was a game, like he was having fun with me, see if I could keep up. And, I did keep up. And then he lashed out me in frustration. And once I knew that he was angry at me, that's when I stopped. But do I make fun of? Have we made fun of Ray via like our Your Mama videos and stuff of that nature? Yeah, we have. But that's kind of just that's just us having fun. I think at the end of the day, if I sat down and talked to Ray, him and I believe we would become pretty good buddies. The thing that goes on between him and Alex, I can't speak or comment on. Well, that's their personal issue. At the end of the day, I'm down to work with anybody. I tried working with Onision again. And I believe that Ray is someone I could work with down the road, or be good friends with down the road.
All right.
Okay. Another question I have for you was, you stated that in your video you don't care about the money, it's the relationships and stuff. Wouldn't you say that you evidently do care about the money in the end? I mean, of course, the friendships and the family and all that kind of stuff is all good, but at the same time, you did content pretty much for the money and also for the entertainment for your fans.
Yes, well, at one point I did, obviously. And what it comes down to is that, and this is something I learned, and I know it sounds very cheesy and very cliche, but if you really do what you love and you do what you feel is right and you're smart about it, then you can make money off of it. But I'm set up in a situation right now to where, I'm not here because of money. I mean, people may think, oh, Zach James, filthy rich, blah, blah. No, I'm not. Do I make money? Yeah. Am I comfortable right now? Yeah. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to create will help out a lot of people. And will I make a lot of money from it? Yeah, I will. But it's not because of the money that I'm doing this. I'm doing it because of the people that it could help. And the thing is that, when you help a lot of people make money, you end up making money out of that. And I mean, by acknowledging that fact, that's not what I'm saying is my motive. I'm just saying that's just how it works. And that's if you want to make money, you can't go after the money.
Okay.
And sadly, money is what we need to survive in this world. Money is what allows me to reinvest into my projects. If I didn't make a lot of money off of OutbackZack, I wouldn't have Yo Mama and Anime. And if I didn't have Yo Mama and Anime, I wouldn't have been able to employ these talented animators and voice actors. So yes, I will end up making money, but that's money I'm going to use to help create new jobs and new opportunities for people.
Okay. Do you feel like if you and your friends as well, like Keep the Heat and many other channels out there, if they partnered with a network like Fullscreen that doesn't seem to, screw over their content creators, do you think that you'd have a different view on networks?
Well, the thing is, we've already had experience with all the networks, including Fullscreen. And I had experience where I had a couple of animators that signed on to Fullscreen. They lost money doing that. And when I saw they were losing money, I told Fullscreen to remove the animators from the network. This doesn't make sense. My friends are losing money. These are my employees, they're my friends, so you need to remove them. And they did. They rightfully did. And that's because, I mean, we have a deal worked out with Fullscreen for anime. which I can't really go into. But Fullscreen does a lot of great things for us with animating. They've helped us get deals and collaboration deals of that nature. And, you know, I hope I answered your question. Your question, I felt like, was worded a little different. Like, I had to think about it for a moment. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, you still feel like, you know, they're still kind of screwing with the content creators a bit.
I think what's great with Fullscreen is that if you feel like you can work with the Gorilla program and you can do that kind of stuff for your videos, then yes, Fullscreen is great for you, because then you end up making more money. But if the Gorilla program does not work for your YouTube channel, does not work for your content, then what's the point? What is the reason? You know? And I'm not saying that you should not sign with Fullscreen. I'm saying you got to figure out what works best for you. With that said, I will give you guys the chance to ask me one more question, and then I have to go.
Okay. But also just my other statement. Not just the Gorilla campaign that actually helps these partners make more money. It's also the people that you refer to Fullscreen as well, based on subscriber count, which, I mean, evidently is not a really decent reason to get paid off based on subscriber count, because it's more about how many views you put in, reel in on your channel as well. But that also gets people paid through Fullscreen as well, the referral that you can get out of it.
Yes, and let me answer this last question, because the Frost review, Robert Frost has been asking this a couple of times. I noticed this in the chat. I'll answer this question, and then I have to leave. Will you put users before profit, even if you have the opportunity to screw over the users, so to speak? No, I will not. I grew up with a very interesting childhood. I grew up around the world. I grew up in a lot of countries. And I've seen the poorest of the poor, and I've actually met the richest of the rich. I've met billionaires before due to my stepfather's job. And I've seen what happens when you screw people over. You may end up making more money, but you end up hurting a lot of people. And I'm a very empathetic person. I'm very empathic. I have a lot of empathy. There we go, that's the way to put it. And the thing is that I am not happy unless I can make as many people as happy as possible. If I find myself with people around me that are sad and miserable, I'm sad and miserable. I can have the greatest things going on for me in the world, but if I'm surrounded by people who are not happy, I just can't be happy. And to put people in front of profit is just very sickening and doesn't make any sense. Because at the end of the day, you know, when you put profit in front of people. But when you put people in front of profit, you end up helping a lot of people. And that in a very interesting way, in a very indirect way, ends up helping you. There's a very domino chain effect that happens. You know, there's a lot of things that are not just wrong with YouTube and YouTube networks, but there's a lot of things wrong with this world. And there's a very clear reflection between the two. And you have to help people to really help the world around you. If you want to be happy, if you want to live the best life, you have to grow up and have a world that you live in that's very rich and sustainable. And you got to create that ecosphere, that hemisphere that everyone's happy with. Because then you'll find yourself with something more than profit. You'll end up making profit, but you'll end up finding yourself in a happy state of mind. You know, people with money can die miserable. You know, I mean, really, money isn't everything. So with that said, I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time to ask me questions. I know that sounds kind of odd for me to say thank you, but I say thank you because I want you guys to realize that as I build things like this and as I work with YouTubers, I'm not going to ignore this part of the community. I'm not going to ignore YouTubers like you. You have a voice. You make videos. People listen to you. You may not be Raylene Johnson or Schmoss, but people still listen to you. And, you know, it's a very respectful thing. It is something that you have to respect. And I respect what you guys do. And moving forward, I want people to realize and understand that, you know, yeah, I'm going to be a CEO of a huge YouTube network, but I'm not going to be a CEO that you can't talk to. That's going to hide from the camera. I'm going to be easily to get accessible with. You know, and I'll do interviews like this. I'll talk to the smallest YouTubers. I'll talk to the biggest YouTubers. I'll be doing an interview with New Media Rockstar. You know, and I did a podcast with Kevin and Harley from Epic Mealtime yesterday. But I also like interviews like this. To me, when I do interviews like this, I feel like I'm really hitting on the problems and I'm really creating a stronger foundation for this industry and for the community. So thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Also, just to clarify for my video, I do kind of feel bad about a lot of the things I've said in the video because I thought I was more speaking on more hostility along with maybe some reason in there. But at the same time, I do kind of apologize for the emotional rage that I was feeling within the video.
Well, apology accepted. And like I said, I didn't see the video. You know, the thing is, I felt like you guys had a reason for what you said, but you just needed to gain more knowledge on who I was and what I was doing. You know, you just didn't have all the information that you needed. And so, yes, I accept your apology, but at the same time, I apologize for not having provided that information beforehand. So, hey, we're all good. We're all buddies. Group hug, people. All right,
Okay.
Well,
Thanks.
really, thank you a lot for taking the time to talk to us. Also, like it means a lot to us because it really reflects that you are actually willing to listen to questions, to answer, and to have like, you know, a civil talk with people that maybe we don't have as much subscribers, but yet it really shows that you actually care and you want to change the whole game. So thank you a lot, Zach, for having this conversation with us, and we hope you the best with your new business, and we will be in touch. And I really, really hope that you are really successful in what you plan to do.
I hope that we're all successful. So, and that's what my goal is, to make everyone successful. So with that said, it was great talking to you guys, and I'm sure that we're going to be talking again. So have a great night.
You too,
See you
Zach.
too.
See you later.
Take care. This is just something I want to add to the video as well. The thing about whenever, and this is something I have a problem with as well, whenever you don't get to know somebody, whether it be, you know, a stranger or even like an adopted son meeting his biological father or anything of that nature, you end up having this, like, a lot of these questions and a lot of frustration about that person. And then once you get to know them and get the questions that you've been asking, you know, the answers, you end up feeling bad about how you felt, like as far as the hatred or the anger towards that person in the end. Because, you know, you get to know them and you realize that they're not that bad of a person. In some cases, of course, there are people that are terrible and you don't feel bad about what you said, like a certain disowned child that we're not going to speak of, but rhymes with Kalowski, but you know, with Zach, he's a really nice guy, and also he's very sincere at what he says.
Yeah.
And he was trying to be as honest as possible. So I respect him for that, definitely. And that's the end.